If you're thinking of moving to the Orlando, Florida area, then you're going to want to know why one of Orlando's most popular suburbs gets so much hate. And yet it's considered by so many to be Orlando's very best suburb. I suspect that some of you have already clicked away that think they know about Deltona, Florida. But look, stick around, because today I'll be exposing a few myths about this city that you're going to want to know. It seems like I get more negative comments in the comment section from viewers like you about Deltona, Florida than any other Orlando suburb. And about half of them are telling me how ridiculous I am for pointing out the good about Deltona, and then the other half are ridiculing me for being a Deltona hater. The truth is that Deltona has a lot to offer, but no, it is not the perfect suburb. So let's jump right in to address some truths about Deltona, Florida. So I'm here now at City Hall in Deltona, right in the central portion of Deltona, and I'm surrounded by all these spaghetti bowl streets. Now, all the locals here in the Deltona area and surrounding suburbs, we all know about the streets of Deltona. When the Mackle brothers built this home back in the 60s, they couldn't build straight streets in Deltona because Deltona is loaded with all of these lakes. And when I come into Deltona, every single time I use my GPS, even if I'm going just a couple miles in and I know where I'm going, because when I'm driving down the road, the phone distracts me. Next thing you know, bam, I'm lost. So I always set my GPS in Deltona because the roads, they just kind of crisscross like a spaghetti bowl. And some roads will cross other roads 2 or 3 times. It's pretty crazy. So you can't just say you're at the intersection of Saxon and Normandy, for instance, because that's not adequate enough description, because they run in all different directions. Nothing runs east and west like they do up in DeLand or down in Sanford or down in Lake Mary. People complain here in Deltona about Howland Speedway and speeding on Elkham and Saxon. And look, that's going to happen, but does not every city deal with speeding, even in residential areas? I believe it's everywhere in my mind, and I've personally dealt with a police presence on Howland, and I've seen them everywhere else. Don't talk about that experience on Howland, it wasn't so good. But if you live here in the Deltona area, you're pretty much here to get out, because people live in Deltona. There's not a lot that they do here. We'll come over to that in a minute. There are not many people going from one side of the other in Deltona on every day. So many people live right close to I-4. Now, in this area, I-4 is the connector between Daytona Beach up to our north and to the east, and Orlando, and eventually down to Tampa to the south. And so others live close to maybe to Howland, to the 415, which that will get you down to, down to Lake Mary, Sanford in one direction, and up to New Smyrna Beach for the other. For those that live in Deltona itself, these spaghetti bowl streets, they're really not that big of a deal. Even though we all complain about them, the reality is it's not that big of a deal, especially when there are main arteries running through Deltona, and especially on the outskirts of them. So people are always complaining that there is nothing to do in Deltona. Well, I'm here now at Lionia Preserve. It's here in Deltona, in the central portion of Deltona, and there's all sorts of trails where you can see the endangered scrub jay. They have bat gardens, a lot of great stuff here, and there's a nice amphitheater where they do a lot as well. Deltona is one gigantic neighborhood. It's very quiet, and you'll notice there's not much noise going on right here either. There's not much nightlife here in Deltona, not many restaurants, not a lot of shopping malls or commercial areas. That's not what we do here in Deltona. The Deltona residents, when they want all that, they're going out. Now, there is a Lowe's here, there are several grocery stores, and there are just a couple of good restaurants, and there's also a movie theater here. Deltona locals are usually going up to Orange City, or maybe up to DeLand, or down to Sanford if they want all the shopping and all the restaurant options and all that. However, Deltona is really a residential area. It's where people live. It's where we come to relax and get respite from all the noise of the world. There are a ton of parks here in Deltona. I believe there's 22 or 23 parks, and we're going to visit a couple of them today. There are skate parks, there's parks that you can go fishing at. There's all sorts of playgrounds. There's Lionia Preserve, as I mentioned here now. There's West Cryle that has indoor and outdoor basketball courts. There's pickleball courts, baseball, splash pads. Look, I can go on and on. The point here is that Deltona has a lot of parks. DeLand, Deltona's big brother up to the north, has about half as many parks as Deltona does, and they've got some great parks, but they just don't have as many as they do here in Deltona. Now, personally, I live out in the sticks. I don't want to be near all the noise, all the commercial business and all that. I want to be close enough to all of that, but I don't want to be in it, and that's really what Deltona does offer. If you want to be in a busier area, we will help you find you just the right home, right next to a mall or next to a bunch of restaurants or in the middle of everything. But if you want to be in a more rural area, or maybe not even rural, maybe just a quiet area, we can help you find a home in Sanford, Lake Mary, DeLand, or anywhere here in the Orlando area. Deltona's location is really underrated, I believe. Depending on where you are in Deltona, it may be only 10 minutes down to Sanford, and you could be just 5 minutes from DeLand to everything that DeLand has to offer, maybe 10 minutes to downtown DeLand. You can be 35 minutes up to New Smyrna Beach and 20 minutes down to Orlando, where most of Deltona's residents work. Next, let's talk about crime, because I hear people say that crime is a real problem here in Deltona. Now, I don't know if it actually is or not, and I'm not really going to speak telling you exactly if it's an issue or whether it's not, but I'm going to point out a couple of facts. First, check out crimegrade.org, and when you do, what it says is that Deltona has an A grade. I could be wrong, but an A sounds pretty good to me, at least it was when I was in school. And when I compare crimegrade.org to some of Orlando's other suburbs, I don't know that I see a problem. In fact, the data suggests that Deltona is pretty darn good in this area. I've been in all parts of Deltona, at day and at night, and I don't know that I've seen as many blue and red lights as I do in some of these other cities. Does Deltona come up in the news? Yes, you bet it does. Deltona is the largest city in Volusia County, and it's the 30th largest city in Florida. It's bigger than cities like Sanford, Kissimmee, Daytona Beach, Ocala, Melbourne, Port Orange, and even Miami Beach. So shouldn't we see some of that crime? Well, I think yes, absolutely. When I think of these other similar cities and their downtown areas, I don't know how Deltona can even be mentioned among these cities when I think of crime. Deltona has more of a small town feel than these aforementioned cities. What you don't see in Deltona is the graffiti that you see in so many other cities, or any people sleeping on sidewalks or begging you for your money when you pull up to an intersection. You don't see the trash on the Deltona streets either. Deltona is pretty clean. Now, I won't mention any names because I'm probably going to upset some of you in more prestigious neighboring cities, but Deltona might be better for crime than some of you. If you're thinking of moving to the Orlando area, Deltona should not be overlooked. Now, Deltona may be underrated simply because of its crimegrade.org score, but look, this is not even the biggest reason that Deltona is so underrated. I've got a couple more that may surprise you. So we're here now at West Crowell Park, one of Deltona's best parks in my mind. We're here in front of the indoor basketball gymnasium. It's a fantastic place to play ball. And this one we're going to talk about is walkability. And Deltona's walkability scores are pretty darn lousy. Walkscore.com says that it scores a 16 on their rating system. Now, their rating system is 0 to 100, with 0 being unwalkable to 100 being a walker's paradise. Now, we do have the Sunrail over in DeBary that helps us get down to Orlando or up to DeLand. There's the Votran, but there's not much else other than maybe Uber and Lyft. There are a few sidewalks in Deltona, but certainly nothing significantly. And given the spaghetti bowl streets that we spoke about a minute ago, it doesn't really give a lot of support. Now, there are a lot of cycling trails down in the south side of town. The East Central Regional Rail Trail is a fantastic and a very popular trail. It connects from DeBary over through Deltona and all the way over to Edgewater and New Smyrna Beach, and then it connects in DeBary all the way up the Spring to Spring Trail up to De Leon Springs. So that's a fantastic thing, but getting to that is difficult unless you're down on the south side of town. Cycling on these streets may not be real safe because there's a lot of curbs, as I mentioned before, but this is indicative of Central Florida. There's not a lot of sidewalks around, not just Deltona. It's a little different than down in Sanford or even up in DeLand. Although Sanford did score a 27 and DeLand scored a 33 and Orlando scored a 41, none of these are fantastic. So given the area and Orlando's suburbs, Deltona is only a little bit worse than these other ones. Next, let's talk about traffic. Well, in Deltona, traffic is not even an issue whatsoever, except for maybe over on I-4, which is a whole nother ballgame. On I-4, you can go to Orlando any time of the day or night and you can get stuck in traffic. So if you're going to Orlando and you have a 40-minute ride according to Google Maps, you better give yourself an hour because it's Sunday at 2 p.m., Saturday morning at 5 a.m., you can have traffic. But here in Deltona proper, I don't really care if I'm going anywhere, if it's 5 p.m., noon, 8 a.m. It doesn't matter too much, except maybe one or two ramps, maybe exit 108, trying to get on there. It can stack up pretty bad. And you just cannot say that about other Orlando suburbs, especially south of Lake Monroe across the St. Johns River Bridge, where traffic is constant. Even up in DeLand, traffic has gotten much worse. Is it bad in DeLand? No, it's not bad, but there's a lot more whining about it than there used to be, and it's a lot worse than it is here in Deltona. Again, if you want the noise, if you want the congestion, or if you want to be close to all those other things, 3 to 5 minutes away, we can help you with that. Simply reach out and we'll help you find a home in the area close to what it is that you want to be close to. Next, let's talk about growth, because I hear people complaining about Deltona's growth and how it's getting bigger, and it's true. Growth is happening. However, here in Deltona, the growth that's occurring is primarily builders building on small individual lots, small town builders. Very few new construction communities are being built here, except way down on the south side of town towards Sanford. And look, isn't building going on everywhere? Well, absolutely, but given that it's small town individual builders, we don't really feel that much here in the Deltona area. Now, it's true that D.R. Horton has bought some homes, but again, we're talking small builders here in this area, and they're pretty much spread out, okay? So next, let's dig into what it's going to cost you to build a home here in Deltona versus other suburbs. Well, the median sale price of a home in Deltona, as I record this today, is right around $300,000. Up in DeLand, it's $50,000 more at $350,000. DeBerry's going to run you about $380,000. Sanford about $389,000, Lake Mary around $470,000. Now, Lake Mary is where a lot of Deltona folks go to work if they're not going down to Orlando. And the median sale price of a home in Orlando is going to run you right around $400,000. And look, it's not that the homes here in Deltona are old rundown shacks. The Deltona building started really, I'm going to say in the 60s, but most of the homes here today are 1990s and newer, and they're still building today. Nowhere in the Orlando area are you going to get a better bang for your buck than you will right here in Deltona. And there's very few homeowners associations in Deltona too, although the city is involved to help keep the yards and the home appearances up, although there are many that still complain that it's not enough. Some complain right here on my channel. But if you want a homeowners association, there are a couple of them here, or we can help you find a home in another Orlando suburb. Now, Deltona does get some hate for their water bills and their taxes, and look, this hate is well earned, but at these prices, it's really okay. The water bills are ongoing. It seems as though they've really gotten really bad in the last couple of years, and the taxes, I believe Volusia County has the 6th highest millage rate in the entire state. Now, niche.com says that the median rent here in Deltona is right around $1,500 a month, although it also says that only about 20% of Deltona's residents are renters. Next, let's address education, but we're going to go to another park for that. So I'm here now at Campbell Park. This little park has pavilions, tennis courts, a fantastic playground, and sits on a lake, so there's a dock with fishing opportunities here. And now we're going to talk about education, because that's a big deal and something that I hear people complaining about when they talk about Deltona. Now, I hope everyone hasn't left yet, because this is an important thing. Niche.com says that Volusia County Schools rank number 14 out of 166 for athletics. That's pretty good. Number 27 out of 68 for diversity. Number 33 out of 68 for the best school districts in Florida, which, according to U.S. News and World Reports, is number one in higher education for 9 straight years, and second in 2024 in overall education rankings. That's not bad. Now, does this mean that schools like Pine Ridge High or Deltona High School is good? Well, I can't really say. Neither of my children went there. Look, I encourage you to check around on other websites, because it seems like every website that I look into kind of gives me different numbers, but they surely are not all saying that Deltona schools are bad. If you feel that you don't want your family in Deltona, maybe you want them up in DeLand or down in the Seminole County schools in Sanford or Lake Mary. We are very familiar with those areas, and we can help you relocate wherever you want, especially if education is an issue. Next, let's address one truth about Deltona that Orlando surely does not have, and some of its closer neighbors surely do. Now, before I get to the next one, go ahead and share the love for me or the hate for me about Deltona down below. I really do not take any of it personally, but it is all helpful for those thinking of moving anywhere here to the Orlando area. Many people consider Deltona when they're moving to Orlando from all around the country. I've heard some say that Deltona does not have a small town feel, and the truth is, I believe that's true in a traditional sense. Deltona does not have the small town feel that other cities like DeLand or DeBary or even Sanford have. That's a bigger city with a nice downtown area. And that's because Deltona does not have a central business district like DeLand, and it's too big to have the small town feel like over in DeBary. What they do have is a wonderful sense of community. There's a lot of neighborhood goodwill here. People really seem to look out for one another. It's a sense of community that you're just not going to find down in Orlando proper. Now, being such a large city, some could say that it really lacks an identity of its own. Now, there are some different parts of Deltona that have a very different feel than other parts. For instance, the southeast section down near Osteen is very rural, more of a country feel down there. Up at the north end, up near Arbor Ridge and Timbercrest that are HOA communities, it's a busier feel. You're right next to the hospital there, next to the movie theater and the Amazon distribution center, and up there you're super close to I-4 as well. Then there's a central section of Deltona where we started today. Homes that are older, those older Mackle homes. They tend to be smaller, and they also tend to be less expensive homes, perhaps often lower than that median sale price we spoke of a minute ago. Then there's the south part, down in Enterprise, down on the north shore of Lake Monroe, and down there it's more like Mayberry. It's a great area, a very quiet area right on the north shores of Lake Monroe, and also close to I-4. Look, I hope I have not offended too many of you here today, but if you want to know more about Deltona or any other suburb of Orlando, simply reach out and let me know. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.